This one mistake quietly destroys a man's respect, and almost every nice man makes it. No one tells you that, and most men don't realize this. But being nice is one of the fastest ways to become invisible. Nice men are confused. They did what they were told. They were polite. They were agreeable. They avoided conflict. They tried to be liked. And yet, they're ignored, overlooked, passed over. Meanwhile, another type of man keeps getting chosen. Not louder, not cruel, but different. Dangerous. Not dangerous in violence, dangerous in capability. And most men misunderstand this completely, because the world doesn't reward niceness. It rewards competence under control. Nice men seek approval. Dangerous men command respect. And those are not the same currency. A nice man asks, "Is this okay?" A dangerous man decides, "This is happening." He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't seek permission. He doesn't soften his edges to be accepted. He has boundaries. He has standards. He has teeth, even if he rarely shows them. That's what makes him dangerous. Nice men believe being harmless makes them safe. But harmlessness doesn't create safety. It creates invisibility. Because when pressure hits, when chaos enters, when things go wrong, no one looks to the harmless man. They look to the man who can handle it. Dangerous men aren't aggressive. They're contained. They don't react emotionally. They respond deliberately. They can say no and mean it. They can walk away without explaining. They can disappoint people without collapsing. That's power. Nice men confuse kindness with weakness. Dangerous men understand something deeper. You can be kind and still be formidable. But you cannot be respected if you are incapable of harm, because respect is rooted in potential. A man who cannot enforce his boundaries has none. A man who avoids conflict at all costs becomes controlled by those who don't. And the world senses this instantly. Women sense it. Men sense it. Life senses it. That's why nice men get talked over. That's why they get friend-zoned. That's why they get ignored in rooms they should command. Not because they're bad men, but because they're safe to dismiss. Dangerous men are not. Because you know there's a line, and if you cross it, something happens. Not chaos, not rage, consequences. That's the difference. A dangerous man doesn't threaten. He doesn't posture. He doesn't explain what he'll do. He simply acts when necessary. And because he rarely has to, his presence does the work. Nice men try to negotiate respect. Dangerous men embody it. And here's the truth most men resist. Being nice is easy. Being dangerous takes discipline. It requires strength you don't show, control you don't advertise, standards you don't apologize for. A dangerous man can be calm because he knows what he's capable of. A harmless man must be nice because he has nothing else. That's why dangerous men don't chase validation. They don't need it. They validate themselves through competence, through skill, through mastery, through action. They train their bodies. They sharpen their minds. They build leverage in their lives, not to intimidate, but so they never have to beg. Because the man who can walk away always has power. Nice men stay where they're disrespected. Dangerous men leave. Nice men explain themselves endlessly. Dangerous men explain once, or not at all. Nice men hope things improve. Dangerous men make decisions. And here's the part that matters most. Dangerous men don't need to prove they're dangerous. The calm is the signal. The silence is the signal. The refusal to overreact is the signal. That's why they're chosen, not because they're cruel, not because they manipulate, but because they are reliable under pressure. When things get serious, people want the man who can handle seriousness. not the man who avoids it. So, if you're a nice man listening to this, understand this clearly. You don't need to become rude. You don't need to become cold. You don't need to become cruel. You need to become capable. Capable of saying no. Capable of walking away. Capable of enforcing boundaries. Capable of standing alone. Because the moment you stop needing approval, you start earning respect. The world doesn't choose men who are harmless. It chooses men who are controlled threats. Men who can act, but don't unless necessary. That's masculinity. And the shift begins when you stop asking, "How do I be liked?" and start asking, "How do I become formidable?" Because being liked is passive. Being formidable is earned. A formidable man doesn't chase attention. Attention finds him because presence demands it. He doesn't raise his voice to be heard. He doesn't explain himself to be understood. He doesn't negotiate his boundaries to stay comfortable. He knows who he is. He knows what he's capable of. And because of that, he moves calmly through chaos. Formidable men don't seek dominance. They carry certainty. They don't need to threaten. Their restraint is the signal. They don't react to disrespect emotionally. They address it decisively. Or they walk away. That's what separates boys from men. Not aggression, not arrogance, but self-command. A harmless man avoids conflict because he fears loss. A formidable man chooses peace because he can afford to. He's dangerous enough to protect what matters. Disciplined enough not to destroy it. That's why people listen when he speaks. That's why silence follows when he enters a room. That's why his absence is felt. Because a man who can stand alone is never ignored. This isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming solid. It's about building strength that doesn't need to announce itself. Competence that doesn't seek applause. Confidence that doesn't depend on validation. A formidable man trains when no one is watching. He sharpens skills that can't be taken from him. He builds leverage, mentally, physically, financially, not to intimidate the world, but so the world can't intimidate him. And here's the key most men miss. Formidability is not a performance. It is a state of being. It's how you exist when no one is looking. It's how you act when pressure comes without warning. It's the quiet force that ensures your life moves forward, whether others approve or not. Once you understand this, your perspective changes. You stop trying to please everyone. You stop explaining yourself endlessly. You stop tolerating people or situations that drain your energy. You begin to operate from a place of power, not desperation. You choose carefully. You move deliberately. You act when it matters. You hold your ground when it matters most. And the strange thing? The world begins to respond differently. Respect replaces approval. Attraction replaces effort. Opportunities appear without chasing them. And your presence, just your presence, begins to carry weight. Because the world doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards capability under control. And that's why we're here. This isn't for men who want comfort. This isn't for men who want to be liked by everyone. This is for men who want to be unshakable. Men who know their value, control their energy, and operate deliberately, even in the chaos of life. A formidable man is not born. He is built, forged, sharpened, through discipline, through challenge, through endurance, through mastering himself before attempting to master anything else. And when you reach that level, you don't just exist. You influence. You lead. You are chosen, not because you seek it, but because your presence commands it. Subscribe to Iron Mind. We don't teach men to be nice. We teach men to be dangerous. With discipline,